Jay, you've been through a lot of these rivalry games, no matter where they are. They're all different, but is there a formula you've found for keeping the focus on the game and maybe tapping into the outside energy?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, there's just naturally going to be energy, okay? And when you play a passionate rivalry game, there's going to be energy. I think we have to do a better job of controlling that and really focusing it the proper way. You know, we had too many penalties last year. You know, we had a team meeting today and we kind of framed the game and talked about last season. You know, we lost a double overtime game where we had 18 penalties. We had 4 turnovers, 2 in the red zone. We had 3 touchdowns called back. Okay, and so you just can't win games that way. And it was still a double overtime game and a game that we should have won. And so we have to correct those areas, and we have to be better. We've got to be better at the end of the game. You know, and you know, most games come down to the last 4 minutes where you either have to seal it or steal it. That's just it. You got to seal the game by 4 minutes. We've worked very hard at that. You know, we had an opportunity. You know, we had a 4-minute situation at the end of this last game, and you know, I told our offense, I said, we've been working on this all off season. Let's move the ball down. Let's get first downs, and I'd like to finish the game with the ball in our hands, and we did run it down and score. Great effort by Avery Morrow to get the ball in the end zone at the end, but we have to learn how to finish games like that, and that's important that we can run the ball in those situations. We got to play well at the end of the game in a 2-minute situation. So, you know, those are the things that we have to learn from. I think we have a much more mature team. I think we're wiser, and I think we have a better plan.
How do you convince 18 to 22-year-olds to use the emotion and channel it in the right way?
No, I mean, I think the one thing that as a coach you learn is that there's going to be emotion and there's passion, and that's part of the game, and we need that. You know, you got to play with an edge and physicality, but it's got to be funneled the right way. And so, you know, I think we'll learn from that from last year's game. I think we'll have an incredible environment in Canvas. I thought last week was great, and I think this week will be even better, you know, just because of the nature of the opponent and the game, and we've been looking forward to it.
Coach, do you have an update on Torrey?
Torrey is sore, but I think he's going to be available to play. So we'll see how he progresses over the week. He's got a groin strain, and I was never fast enough to get a groin strain, but fast guys get groin strains. But Torrey, you know, he's worked really hard to build his body up, and I mean, he was like shot out of a cannon on that punt return last week, and you know, we're hopeful that he's able to play. You know, I was proud of Braden this past week. You know, Braden really handled the game plan well, spread the ball around to 10 different receivers, didn't turn the ball over. So, you know, it's going to be important. Not only Torrey's ready to play, but all of our skilled guys are ready to contribute.
Jay, obviously we talked about there's not going to be a lack of energy in this game, but just knowing, obviously you mentioned you showed the guys kind of the mistakes from last year, just knowing that all those guys are back and things like that, that they're going to be hungry, knowing that they probably should have won that game last year to get a win again this time around.
Yeah, I think you know, you learn every time you play, and you learn more from your losses than you do your wins, really. And so, you know, we've talked a lot about that, and we learned a lot from last year's game. You know, and we have a bigger sample size on them too. We know what they are. We know who they are. We know what they're trying to do. And so that's a better understanding for us. So I just think it'll help us moving forward. But, you know, we always try to learn from every game, and you know, I think we learned a lot from that game last year.
Do you think there's some human nature? Your players knew what game was coming next. Did you feel any of that of, you know, kind of?
Yeah, we all knew what game was coming next. I mean, I'm not different than they are in that. You know, and we're looking forward to this game. There's really only, you know, the only thing we can do is play well. That 3 hours that we're on the field on Saturday. The rest of it doesn't matter. we can talk about it all we want. We can put stuff on social media and respond and write articles and all that. It don't really matter. The only thing that matters is those 3 hours that we get to play, and that'll happen at 5:30.
You mentioned '96. Sonny was the coach at that time. I think he had more success than others against CU. What do you think about him during the game? Or
Oh yeah. No, I think of Sonny all the time, and he's told me a lot of stories about these games, and it's good to get that kind of perspective. But these are the games you remember. When you get done playing, when you get done coaching, you think about these rivalry games, and been part of a lot of them. And this one's unique. It's really unique, but it means a lot to the people in the state. It means a lot to our alumni. It means a lot to our fan base, and it means a lot that it's here in Fort Collins and in Canvas Stadium. They were supposed to play here a couple years ago. The game was canceled because of COVID, and I just think there's a lot of anticipation and excitement about playing this game in Canvas. We got a special stadium. That was special Saturday. For those of you that were here, it was big time college football environment, and I think that's what we're capable here at CSU, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to Saturday.
Jay, was that kind of a reminder? You mentioned the atmosphere you guys had Saturday and what will obviously come this Saturday. Is that kind of a reminder of why you wanted to take this job?
There's no question. It's why I came here, to be a part of games like that, atmospheres like that. And also, for this community, we love this community. We represent this community. We're proud to travel all over the country and represent CSU. And, when we play, we want people to see the respect that we have. We want them to see that we're accountable for what we do, that how hard we play, that we have a team that runs and hits. We want to play good football, and that's what we've been working hard to build here, and this is another important step for us.
Pass rush will be important this week. Do you get Newer back as well?
Yeah, I don't know that Norvell will be back this week. It's unlikely that he will be back, and that's why it's so important, the development of kids like Kenyon Agers and Gabe Kurtzky and Mukende's playing so well. Those guys are going to continue to get opportunities. We got to do a great job with our pass rush. We got to keep this quarterback in the pocket, and we got to push. We got to get vertical push inside. He's a drop back passer in his nature, and so we got to do a good job of keeping him in the pocket. He got out late on us a couple times last year, and those were big plays in the game, and we gotta do a good job of hemming them up.
With Colorado's speed and playmaking ability, how do you plan on keeping the defense disciplined all the way to the end? So
Yeah, they're I think they might have faster receivers than Texas. Those kids can all run. We got to do a good job of playing good, solid pass defense. They haven't really hurt people much with the running game, so that's what they want to do. And we have to do a good job of understanding how they try to attack coverages and how we can defend them. And so that's going to be a big part of the game is not giving them explosive plays.
Coach, you mentioned in your opening that there's a lot of similarities to last year's team with Colorado. And I know offensively with Shador, they're doing a lot of the same stuff. But defensively, new coordinator on that side too, a lot of new guys up front. Do you see anything differently on defense from Colorado compared to last year in how you're going to make
Well, I can only speak about the first two games they've played. But Livingston he's an experienced coach, and he's got a lot of great experiences in the National Football League and with the Bengals. They've played under and over. They play a little odd, and they've played a lot of man coverage. That's what they've done so far. Now they sprinkle in some Tampa 2 and third and long, but that's what they've shown that they've want to do. Now they're capable of playing other things, and they're capable of showing other things, but that's what they've shown so far. And so, they seem to want to be pretty simple, And, and we have to be prepared for all the things that they're capable of doing. And we've studied a lot of their tape of the coordinators in different places they've been, so we know what, they're capable of doing. But, very similar personality team that we played a year ago as far as schematically.
Jay, what was said before the game and after last year's game, does that carry over at all into
It's a very different year. I mean, it's a very different year, and the circumstances are completely different. I will say this, this is an emotional game. It has been for well before I ever came to CSU and well before this season. And there's been a lot of bad blood, over the years in this game. But rivalries are what make college football special. And really, it's insignificant. The things that happen that surround the game really don't affect the game. It's what happens on the field that matters. And so that's all we're focused on. I'm glad that Travis is healthy. After last year, him and Henry had an exchange after the game. They're kids. These are college kids that are in college to play football, and there's no ill feelings or bad blood in any of that. So, we're going to keep our focus on playing the game, and we're excited to play the game here, and it should be a great game.
You've been in so many of these games. There's a tricky balance, as you mentioned, between the emotions and the rivalries and what that means. Do you hope that the fans keep safety and decorum in mind while also enjoying that, because there's so much of, and again, you played played and coached so many big games.
Yeah.
There's a tipping point where you want to keep it on.
Yeah, there's a lot of rivalry games, and I just hear stories of some of the old, Rocky Mountain showdowns in Denver and Mile High and tear gas and all that kind of stuff. We don't really need that. It's a college football game. Everybody should have fun. Fans yell at the other team. That's part of it. There's probably going to be some ill words said. That's part of it. But as far as physical harm or violence, we don't want anybody to get hurt. And it's a football game, and all that other stuff is just part of the game. All the words that are said, and I'm sure there'll be some of that. And so. And I'd probably be disappointed if there wasn't, to be honest with you. So, but that's part of the game, and when we go on the road, we have to deal with it. And, we get 7 home games this year, and we want it to be a tough environment. So, and I thought it was a great environment last week, and I expect it to be even better this week.